What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be giving you my New Year's 6 bowl games review. So I already did my review of the two playoff semifinals, so now I'm going to be reviewing the rest of the New Year's 6 bowl games. If you don't know, the New Year's 6 games are 6 huge games, 2 of which are the playoffs, which again I've already covered, and the other which just match up some of the best teams in college football that season. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start reviewing these games. I'm going to go in order of how they were broadcast on TV and just the order that they were played. So we're going to start off with the Cotton Bowl, which my apologies, when I first did it, I got the date wrong. Instead of 31st, it was actually Wednesday, December 30th, again, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this was just a bad performance from the Florida Gators in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. Oklahoma wins 55-20. Granted, Florida did have their top 4 receivers out in this game, but they still just they didn't show up at all, especially defensively. I thought defensively Florida would play a little bit better, but Oklahoma played nothing to take away from Oklahoma. They played an outstanding game. But if you're a Florida fan, you have to be disappointed with this performance. Kyle Trask threw 3 interceptions, all of those in the first quarter, didn't even throw a touchdown pass. And Emory Jones came into play a little bit. He didn't even throw or run for a touchdown pass. Damian Pierce, 11 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown for Florida. He had 12 different pass catchers. And I don't think anyone had more than 3 catches in this game. And I've already talked, their top 4 receivers were out. But again, you expected them to be kind of slow offensively, but defensively, just an absolute show put on by Oklahoma's offense. Spencer Rattler, 14 of 23, 273 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Ramondre Stevenson out of the backfield, 18 carries, 186 yards for a touchdown. And Marcus Major out of the backfield had a big game as well, 110 yards and a touchdown. Seth McGowan, their leading receiver in this game with only 3 catches, 70 yards. I mean, this was an absolute dominant performance from Oklahoma. Those 3 interceptions in the first quarter for Florida were a huge part of why they lost this game. And Florida was totally missing their top 4 receivers. And as far as Kyle Trask, he's declared for the NFL draft and probably not going to win the Heisman. The Heisman going to go to Devontae Smith, as I talked about earlier, but just a bad performance from Florida in this one. Oklahoma wins the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic in an absolute dominant fashion. They win by 35. Man, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl was a great way to kick off the new year. What a game this was. Cincinnati led this game early and with a great play at the start of the third quarter to open up this game, and it seemed like Cincinnati is going to continue their momentum, although they didn't. Georgia was able to come back, and with a safety in the end zone, that sealed the game for Georgia. Your final score, 24-21. It gives Cincinnati their first loss, and it will be their only loss of the year. Cincinnati kind of killed themselves on penalties in this game. They had 11 of them for 80 yards, lots of holding penalties, lots of mental lapses on Cincinnati, but Desmond Ridder played pretty well, 24 of 37 for 206 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jerome Ford had the big touchdown run I just talked about earlier, and along with that, 8 carries, 97 yards, and a touchdown. Of course, they got to Michael Young. They couldn't really get it to Alec Pierce a whole lot in this game, which is what they needed to do in order to have a chance in this one. When we look at the Georgia side, this team was a whole different team with JT Daniels at quarterback, and they continued to show that in this game. 26 of 38, 392 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Zamir White really couldn't quite get it going, but was able to do enough for Georgia. 11 carries, 39 yards, and a touchdown. George Pickens, their leading receivers, with 135 yards and a touchdown. And Jack Podlesny, not easy to replace Rodrigo Hot Rod Blankenship. He's had a great season with the Indianapolis Colts in the NFL, but again, he's probably the best kicker Georgia's had in program history. And Jack Podlesny, I believe this was a career long for him, but a game-winning 53-yard field goal. 63 been a lot more impressive, but 53-yard field goal to seal this one with about 6 seconds left, and Cincinnati couldn't really do much else. As I said, the safety in the end zone made this game a little bit nicer looking of a game, but really, if you look at the final score, it's more like 22-21. Cincinnati let this one slip away. Cincinnati should be back next year. They have a lot of interesting games on the schedule. It'll be interesting to see what Cincinnati does next year, but hey, they fought hard in this game. They proved that they can hang with some of the big name programs. And as for Georgia, you get a nice win in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Georgia finishes the season strong, ending Cincinnati's perfect season. The PlayStation Fiesta Bowl was a very lopsided affair. Brock Purdy wins the player of the game, 20 of 29 for 156 yards and a touchdown, along with 9 carries, 39 yards, and a touchdown as well. Your final score, 34-17, and as predicted, Iowa State able to win this one. And we talking about Iowa State's defense just throughout the entire season. They've played great. Of course, they had Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year in their linebacker Rose. He is going to be coming back next year. That's a big boost for Iowa State. But if you're Matt Campbell, you can't be happier with the way that this team has played. Matt Campbell is building something at Iowa State. It's going to be very interesting to see how this team looks next year. But as for how they played in this game, they played outstanding. When you look over on the Oregon side, down at the bottom of the stats, the time of possession, Iowa State had the ball for more than 2/3 of this game, and Oregon, I believe, was even 0 for 6 on third down, while Iowa State was something like 11 for 19. It was just a complete dominant performance by Iowa State. It was close early, but as soon as Iowa State blew the doors open, there was no going back for the Cyclones. Anthony Brown played played a lot in this game for Oregon. The backup quarterback for Tyler Shuck, 12 of 19, 147 yards. Didn't throw a touchdown or interception, but on the ground had 4 carries for 39 yards and 2 touchdowns. He kept them in the game early, but Iowa State and Brock Purdy, especially with Breece Hall, who is America's leading rusher in this game. He had 34 touches, gave the ball to him a lot, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. And, of course, one of the best tight ends in college football, Charlie Kohler, 5 catches, 53 yards, and a touchdown. Again, C.J. Verdell, I believe opting out of the season. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't play the majority for Oregon. So Travis Dye, again, the running back here, not a whole lot of production. 8 carries, 52 yards, solid average, but no touchdowns, and couldn't really help Oregon out in this game. Again, the time of possession was huge in this one, and Oregon not converting a single third down really did not help the Ducks' case at all in this game either. Iowa State wins the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. This was an Orange Bowl classic, and I know the score might say otherwise, but this game really was a classic. This game went back and forth all day, all night long. This game went back and forth, but Texas A&M pulls it out late, and their defense helps them out. With that final score, 41-27, Texas A&M winning the Capital One Orange Bowl in Hard Rock Stadium, Miami, which will now get set for the College Football Playoff National Championship game. Kellen Mond, I believe, won player of the game, 16-26, 232 yards, and on the ground, 11 carries, 36 yards, and a touchdown. Sam Howell on the other side played great as well, throwing the ball to Josh Downs and Daz Newsome quite a bit in this game. Both those guys each had 60-plus yards and touchdowns, respectively. But it was the running game that North Carolina was missing in this game. You could see that they were missing Michael Carter and their starting running backs. British Brooks ended up being their leading rusher. 15 carries, 53 yards. Not bad, but not great. They were really missing playmakers out of the backfield. But as for Texas A&M, they were also kind of missing playmakers. I mean, not really. Like, they had pretty much everybody there, but Isaiah Spiller was not himself. Still had 11 carries, 50 yards, and 2 touchdowns, but you could see that he was dealing with some injuries throughout this game. So what does the backup do? Well, Devin Akane, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, 12 carries, 140 yards, and 2 touchdowns, really picked up the slack in that running game for Texas A&M. And as for Anaya Smith, who was their leading receiver, had 6 catches, 125 yards, pretty much caught everything they threw his way. And again, this game went back and forth but it was the defense for Texas A&M coming up with some big takeaways late in the game to seal this one. This game was a lot closer than the score really indicates, but I mean, all around, just a great performance from Texas A&M. Question becomes, did they belong in the playoffs with Alabama? Maybe, but the way this game was played, I thought they were going to come out and just put on an absolute show here, which they did. But Kellen Mond, while he played well, was really under-impressive to me. I feel like he could have thrown for touchdown passes if he wanted to, but the running game got it done for Texas A&M. Anyway, I think Texas A&M and Notre Dame would be a fantastic game to watch, although I think Texas A&M might win it. Did they belong in the playoffs? I don't know. But what I do know is that Texas A&M played a great game and are the winners of the Capital One Orange Bowl. And that's going to do it. Just a short little video, my New Year's 6 bowl games review. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like. Also consider subscribing if you are brand new to the channel or you just enjoy my content. Turn on the notification bell so you do not miss an upload. And you can join Tailgate Nation. Also leave a comment down below. You can tell me your thoughts on this video and your thoughts on these games. Also share the video with everyone you know. I'm trying to grow the channel as big as possible. It'd mean a lot if you guys could share the video with everyone you know who likes college football as much as you and me. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see all of you guys later this week with my mega national championship preview and prediction. It's going to be a fun one in Hard Rock. Goodbye.